On Monday, former President Donald Trump took the stand in his New York City fraud trial, and instead of answering questions, he decided to use his time to attack the judge and the prosecutors. So now, in one instance, Trump had complained about his 2014 financial statements being used in this lawsuit. He said, quote, "First of all, it's so long ago, it's well beyond the statute of limitations." He then turned to the judge to say that they're only allowed because he always rules against me. He always rules against me. So Engoron responded, of course, by saying, "You can attack me in whichever way you want, but please answer the questions." Now, that, of course, is one thing he did not do, at least not very well. At times, he was seen rambling about things that were not even related to the case, and, of course, going on about this trial being just so completely unfair. At one point, Trump referenced a disclaimer that was already ruled to be unenforceable and cannot be used to insulate fraud as to facts peculiarly within defendants' knowledge, even vis-a-vis sophisticated recipients. So this disclaimer, it's already been ruled against by the judge. Doesn't matter. He brought it up because he's trying to use it to get this trial canceled, saying, well, look, there was a disclaimer on this saying that it wasn't going to be completely entirely accurate. And so you should just let me go. Now, wait a minute. There's a difference here in being like, I don't know, I guess I was off by a few bucks. And between that and being off by millions of dollars, in fact, to the point of where banks had testified that they lost about $168 million. This is Deutsche Bank specifically, in possible interest, thanks to, of course, the valuations being fraudulent. So that said, when Trump brought up this disclaimer once again, Judge Engoron was not having it. He said, look, if you want to learn about the disclaimer clause, read my opinion for the first time. So, look, it's very clear that Trump did not read the opinion, didn't agree with it, if he read it at all. We know that Trump is not exactly somebody who takes the time to read things at length. Very, very small attention span, very tiny. In fact, look, he wouldn't read anything past a half a page when he was president of the United States. Very, very important briefings, things that you should probably know about. No, not at all, not going to do it. Half page lengths. And at one point, they had to shorten it to tweet length. You know, with his name peppered in, so that he would still pay attention to the entire thing. So yeah, half-pager kind of guy. You expect him to read a judgment against him? Of course not. And so it is funny that the judge brings that up. Now, Trump responded by getting a little testy. He yelled, "I think it's fraudulent, the decision. The fraud is on the court. He called me a fraud, and he didn't know anything about me. You knew nothing about me. You believe this political hack back here," to which he's referring to, of course, Attorney General Letitia James. Now, look, the yelling, there was yelling throughout many different points of this trial. That was Trump. Then there was, of course, Christopher Kise, his lawyer, and Alina Habba, his other lawyer. Also having very loud exchanges with the judge. In fact, this court appearance went so badly that Trump nearly, at one point, got tossed off the stand. In fact, here is what Engoron said about this to his lawyer, Christopher Kise. "I beseech you to control him. If you can't, I will. I will excuse him and draw every negative inference." This is not a political rally. This is a courtroom. Well, to Trump, that's exactly what it is, though. To him, it is a political rally or a political trial. Remember, Trump's one of the most conspiracy-minded idiots out there, okay? There's nary a conspiracy theory that he'll actually buy into, that he won't buy into, I should say. He thinks everybody's out to get him, and to a certain point, I guess he's right in that. But it's not because, well, let's just say it's because he is a lifelong criminal and overall terrible person. It's not because He's unmasking the deep state and taking on the pedophiles and, in the government that is standing up for the average American. No. Look, the average American, he's ripped off more ways than one. For one, not paying his taxes for several years, which again, when rich people don't pay their taxes, the burden falls on the rest of everyone else. And then, of course, through directing taxpayer money to his businesses while he was president. Yeah. So that's documented. But he didn't get in any trouble, in any trouble for any of that stuff. No, he's in trouble for ripping off the banks in order to save himself money. It all comes down to what helped Donald Trump. And so he thinks that being adversarial to the judge, the prosecutor, that's going to help him. And, when it comes to his diehard fans, it absolutely will. But not when it comes to the law. Remember, this is a civil trial. It's not a criminal trial. We're not God to get Trump to throw him in jail. No, the only possibility of jail time when it comes to this civil trial is if Trump continued to disobey and attack law clerks, and so that he was specifically told not to in his limited gag orders against him. And so that would be the only way that he could be in prison for this. Otherwise, he would have to pay a $250 million penalty and not be able to do business in New York. That's what this is about. Again, he was sued for cheating banks and insurance companies out of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars that they could have made. Those companies, they were wrong. They deserve redress. Okay? This is not, again, a political trial. This is not about politics. He wants to make it about politics, but really it's about business. It's also about breaking laws. If you run your business based on fraud, then you're going to get caught. And no amount of complaining and attacking the judge and the prosecutor in the process is going to get you out of it. And that's the thing that people who, support President Trump, the former president, have to understand. They're never going to understand. Because again, they're always going to see it as Trump's victim. That's it. Oh, they're all out to get him. They're all out to get him for, him just standing up. He did nothing wrong, No, he's screwing people over. He's a con artist. That's what this is about. Not about politics. Not about politics at all. Strictly about business and strictly about whether or not he broke the laws. And yes, he did when he committed fraud.